I get asked a lot about how do we scale up our team specifically, like who's doing what, our hiring needs, and how do I deal with, a lot of times CEOs or founders are dealing with, I don't want to upset people, but maybe my current CFO or my current head of finance doesn't have the acumen, and it's not a problem. They're just not trained to maybe raise capital, because raising capital and doing JV deals and financing is very different than accounting, right? So you sometimes, as you grow, that's just one example, but you need different skill sets to add to the team. And sometimes, especially teams that have been around a while, sometimes have a mindset that they can do that, and they're great people. They want to grow, they want to learn, and they want to impress you, and they want to say, yes, boss, I can get that done. Well, have you ever raised capital for a scale up, or for where we want to go, and here's our exit strategy, and if you laid out this thing, and maybe we're going public, and have you ever done that? Well, no, of course not. You know that. Well, okay, good. Well, then it would be wise probably for us to start to look as a team, where do we have some gaps in knowledge to make something happen with speed, right? And that's just a very straight conversation to have. I find that this exercise works well to kind of move that conversation to the next level, which is, it's a blank canvas exercise. So first, before I get into the 4 steps, you're thinking about it this way. You want to stand in the future, and you want to ask yourself, well, just what the step says there, but you want to stand in the future, you want to ask yourself, what does this organization look like? And it's a blank canvas, like I have on the right. There's nothing there. So you don't look at your organizational chart now, whatever it looks like. Everyone has their organizational chart. There's you, and then how you have lines up or down or sideways, and you will get there and create what's appropriate for your group for scale. But first, you want to say, what does this look like? If we were at this point in revenue and sales, how many people would be in the organization doing what? And start with your leadership team. And you can, if you're somebody scaling a team and you're not sure what it looks like, go do research on somebody who's done what you've done, right? Look at the company that's 2 years ahead of you with the growth that you want, and do research. You can find out who their leadership team is and how they lay it out and the positions they have. You can even get job descriptions through Google about what are those people doing. I often find the job descriptions are important, because if you want a CFO, that's different than an accountant, which may be different. And then there's nuances in there, like I was mentioning about finance and capital raising. So find the job description on the internet that fits for your future organization and drop that into this document, right? And it'll list the roles and responsibilities, and it won't be a match for the person probably you have doing the job today, nor should it. But then you can have a conversation with that person, and you can say, I need this skill set covered. What part of it can you do? What part of it do we need to hire for or get a consultant for? And you start to have that kind of conversation and dialogue. Does this make sense? So it's not just, you're a good person, let's do our best. No, that's a lot of risk. And that can be true of any position on your leadership team. A VP of sales to scale. Well, if you have somebody who's never scaled before, maybe you want to get some of that expertise on your team. People are going to be the heart of the business, we know. And at certain points, you need to just hire the people who have done it before and have a passion for helping you get it done. So you build out your team on this blank canvas. You don't put names on it. That's the thing. Design the structure, positions, accountabilities, responsibilities. And then 3, fill in the names and communicate clear expectations. So now you can start to go back one-on-one with your team. At some point, you're doing this as a team exercise. You're saying, this is how far I can see right now. It's with your core group of leadership. Here's where I see our gaps are. What do you guys see? What part of this can we fill with us expanding ourselves? So now you got a development path happening. And what part of it likely will we need to bring in some other horsepower? And now you have people being at the source of those conversations, contributing themselves and saying, hey, Simon, I think that X, Y, or Z, we should get some help there. You say, okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. And then lastly here, obviously, you're going to work toward that future state with clear development plans and hiring targets. But clearing the deck, don't try to build. You see, the mistake is trying to build the current team structure to your fast growth structure. It rarely gets you there. It's just going to get you incremental growth. And you're going to be asking a system that's not built for your next level of revenue to deliver the next revenue, and it can't. That's true of anything we discussed today, but especially true of the people grid that you put together. All right, so summary here. You're going to stand in the future and ask, what does the perfect organizational structure look like? Design that structure with no names. And for me, that's, if you're running the company, you're running the team. This could be a department, by the way, too, inside a larger organization. But start from zero. Have some fun with it. I got the canvas there for a reason. A blank canvas means you can create anything. Think from the business outcomes. You may innovate in your industry. A lot of people, of course, do different kinds of organizational charts, inverted, flat, traditional. I don't know. Think about communication structure and high performance and accountabilities, and how do you build something that's lean and mean and that delivers and has scalability into the future for beyond the next years. Fill in the names and clear expectations, and then work towards that future state with clear development plans and hiring targets. All right, how was that? Was that useful? Good. So that is the blank canvas exercise. All right, team. So we're wrapping up here. Final tips and takeaways. So fast growth is a mindset. There's lots of things that you can do operationally and you should do to make sure you can scale. But without fast growth, it's just a good idea. It's a cultural mindset, and it starts with the leader. And no matter where you sit, and again, the Leadership Academy I've built for new leaders too, because I want you to be introduced to these concepts before you're the CEO and founder. And again, if you have a fast growth mindset, to start where I began, as a leader at any level of your organization, even as an executive, often it's rare for people to have a fast growth mindset. Mostly people don't want to change, and they kind of just want to go at the speed they're going, and good enough is good enough. But if you're a founder of your business, you know that that's not acceptable to you, even if you've got conned into that culture and you've acquiesced to the loudest voices and you stopped going for something more. You still know fast growth is the whole game, because you can reach more people and make a bigger impact, and yes, be more profitable and grow and impact people in new ways. So business is growth, and fast growth is a mindset. And are you going to have that as a cultural phenomena? And if it is, you got to start having conversations with people that represent it. And then from there, you design your business for growth. And it's all about culture and systems. So once a growth mindset's in place culturally, and with yourself as a leader and with your other key leaders, then it's easy to have conversations about how do we design our business? What could be our growth targets? What could be our people needs? What systems are we lacking to operationalize that which we do very well? How do we make sure, if we were to pass the box, the box of our business like a franchise does, to a new franchise owner who's never run a restaurant before, and they say, here's your restaurant in a box. What's our business in a box? What would be in that box? That starts to get you into this scale requirements. Leadership is required for breakthroughs, and keeping an abundance mindset is the foundation. So, action items. Download the 5 pillars of fast growth self-assessment. Like I said, I find it very useful to go through that. A lot of times I'll work with that with the clients and teams I coach, just to get a starting point. And then you can obviously focus on priorities. You're practicing one of the practices, which is what's missing and what should we start to put some thought around and actions around. And then you can download, of course, that blank canvas exercise. I have a PDF for that as well. Schedule time to review your business and integrate an action plan for growth. So that would be integrating what you see from the self-assessment into your actions. And then share with your team your new insights. Start to introduce this conversation around growth and what you're kind of seeing, and what do they see maybe barriers, and what might we have to think about. And back to my earlier point, your team will accept this more readily, the conversation, once you've already listened to where they're currently at, and they have the experience of being heard and understood. So if your team doesn't have the experience of being heard and understood from you, remember, they're always going to push back when you dump more things, because see, that's their view, is you're dumping something on them versus you're creating the future of the company together. Two very different spots. They don't want somebody, they get dumped on enough. So make sure that, there's a space here for these kind of conversations to actually be heard responsibly. And then finally, think abundance. It's all about what is possible. It's all about who could we serve more, faster, quicker, and better, and build a team who's committed to those opportunities. And the growth, I don't know, I don't say it flippantly, but growth tends to take care of itself when your people are seeing opportunities every day and you're not the only one talking about it. All right. So that's the end of our official masterclass presentation. Of course, we have Q&A now, but I want to officially just thank the people who are listening to this after the fact. Thank you for engaging in the subject. As always, I hope that made a practical difference, both in your leadership, but also gave you some mindset shifts that you could start to think about. Likely, as you're working with your teams over the next few days, you may hear different conversations that you show up and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, we're talking about budgeting the company out of existence versus also growing it into the future. And you'll probably find new ways to say things and offer people different ways to think about things while still validating what they're looking at, because everyone's committed to success on your team. That's the place to come from. They are. If they're not, you got to get rid of them today, but they are. Okay. They're all committed. Sometimes they stop being heard and listened to, and so they get crappy with you, but you can be accountable for that and turn that around. And in my experience, people always pull a growth mindset towards them when they get that you're authentically engaging them, being a key member of that growth into the future. And it's just not about you and your bank account, perhaps. Again, that's a symptom of people not really being heard. They just think it's about you and what's in it for them, right? So with all that said, go out there and keep being the leader you are. Thanks for being on this masterclass.